want to go ahead and I want to talk about the overall period of Indira Gandhi. So there were two droughts that took place, एक 1965 में, the other one in 1966. There was a sharp rise in the inflation rate. Inflation started increasing. There was large devaluation in June 1966. So June 1966 में, what did we saw? We saw that the currency started devaluating. Currency जो है वो exchange rate में गिरना शुरू हो गई थी. Why? Because there was immense pressure from the US government, IMF and the World Bank. So because the government, IMF and World Bank, they were putting immense pressure, it led to devaluation of the currency. Then, although we kept taking a lot of help of the foreign aid, but वो foreign aids जो हम ले रहे थे, जो हम US से पैसा ले रहे थे या IMF से या World Bank से, वो अपना काम नहीं कर पा रहा था. It was not able to help us in the right direction. And जो ये हमने devaluation किया था करेंसी का, जो हमने करेंसी को और गिराया था further, it was a disaster politically. It wasn't doing very well politically, right? And she started going on the path of liberalization. जो 1991 में जाके LPG आया था, जो liberalization, privatization आई थी, Mrs. Gandhi, she wanted to go ahead and she wanted to start that liberalization. But क्योंकि ये devaluation इतना बड़ा political disaster था, जो exchange rate हम devalue कर रहे थे, it was such a big political disaster that she just backtracked. She just stepped back. She said, okay, let's stop this liberalization. And she pulled off all the liberal economic policies for many, many years. So imagine she wanted to bring this during her period, during the period of 1960s and 1970s. That is when she wanted to bring devaluation. But when she saw कि devaluation जो है, it's a political disaster, ये ठीक से काम नहीं कर रहा है. So you know what happened during this period? ना, we had recession, मतलब less jobs, less output, but at the same time we also had inflation. So kind of stagflation हो गया था. Stagnation plus inflation. Output भी बहुत कम था, GDP बहुत कम था, jobs बहुत कम थी और inflation भी आई जा रही थी. This all started happening after devaluation came. तो सबको ये लगना शुरू हो गया, everybody started blaming devaluation for this situation. But actually this was not the case. अब अगर हम as economists इसको थोड़ा analyze करें, we will find out that this was also because we had droughts, because we had war with Pakistan. तो बहुत सारे reasons थे जिसकी वजह से there was a period of recession and there was less inflation. But people started linking it to devaluation and to liberalization policies. And since, of course, जब भी आप कोई policy लाते हो, you have to think politically also. You need to win back the election. Na? So since this was a political disaster, she backtracked. उन्होंने liberalization policies को backtrack कर दिया. And when she just brought back the liberalization, that let's not go ahead with it. So in a way, you pulled your economy back for multiple years. जब आप एक चीज से retract करते हो, जब आप एक चीज को हटाते हो, तो फिर आप वो बहुत सालों के लिए नहीं लेके आ पाते हो. So then the liberalization only came in 1991, right? उसके पीछे भी बहुत different reasons थे, right? So she again had this election, and elections just पहले, there was an India-Pakistan war, which India had won. So because India had won the India-Pakistan war, that's the reason why they ended up going ahead and winning the election. So Indira Gandhi again won the election. Okay. So बेटा आज का concept हमारा क्या था? To kind of go ahead and tell you what did we want to do? We wanted to break the entire period with the help of 1980. तो हमें इस पूरे 1950 से लेके 2015 तक के पीरियड को डिवाइड करना है दो डिफरेंट पीरियड्स में, बिटवीन टू सेपरेट पीरियड्स. दिस पीरियड which is 1950 to 1980, and this period which is 1980 to 2015, है ना? इस पीरियड को 50 से लेके 80 वाले को हमने सब डिवाइड किया, राइट? वी सब डिवाइडेड इट इन 2 पार्ट्स. ये वाला हो गया नेहरू एरा एंड ये वाला हो गया लाल बहादुर शास्त्री प्लस इंदिरा गांधी एरा. नेवरदीलेस इस पूरे पीरियड में सब कुछ कॉमन था, दैट वी हैड कमांड एंड कंट्रोल इकोनॉमी, द ग्रोथ रेट वाज हिंदू ग्रोथ रेट ऑफ 3.5%, राइट? सो थिंग्स वर सेम इस पूरे पीरियड के लिए, but we can anyways divide it in 2 sub periods. So 1947 to 1964, that is when we had the Nehru era. And 1964 to 1980 is Lal Bahadur Shastri plus Indira Gandhi plus Janata Party era. ठीक है, तो एक बार इसको let's just quickly revise what is this Nehru era. Nehru era or called as the Nehruvian era, इसमें ग्रोथ रेट अप्रोक्सीमेटली 3.9% पे था. Our entire focus was on heavy industries, capital sector, agricultural sector and public sector enterprises. थोड़ा सा इसमें और समझते हैं. बेटा ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि हमने हेवी इंडस्ट्रीज पे क्यों फोकस किया. एक तो ऑफ कोर्स सेल्फ रिलायंस. We wanted to go ahead and to have our own capital sector. हमें नहीं चाहिए था कि machines हमेशा बाहर से, we keep importing the machines. We wanted to go ahead and have our own machines. हमें अपनी खुद की machines चाहिए थी. So that is why for self-reliance, we went ahead and we focused on heavy industries and capital sector. ये पहली चीज हो गई. The second thing that you have to understand is the concept of backward linkage. Backward linkage क्या कहता है? That any development that you do, it can be related to backward or forward linkage. Backward linkage मतलब when I grow something, all its previous things will also grow. जैसे if I go and build a factory, तो इस फैक्ट्री से इसकी प्रीवियस चीजें, मतलब इसमें जो लेबर लगेगा, जो रॉ मटेरियल लगेगा, वो वाले सारे सेक्टर्स ऑटोमेटिकली ग्रो करेंगे. दैट इज अ बैकवर्ड लिंकेज. फॉरवर्ड लिंकेज मीन्स व्हाट? वंस दिस फैक्ट्री इज ग्रोन, तो फैक्ट्री इज बिल्ट, तो सपोज फैक्ट्री में आई प्रोड्यूस गुड एक्स, तो वो एक्स गुड को वी हैव टू ट्रांसपोर्ट इट टू द फाइनल कंज्यूमर. तो इसके वजह से ट्रांसपोर्ट इंडस्ट्री विल ग्रो, राइट? So this good X can only be used as a raw material in good Y. तो good Y की industry will grow when good X grows. तो इसके आगे का जो प्रोसेस होता है that is a forward linkage. इसके जो पीछे का प्रोसेस होता है that's a backward linkage. We want to go ahead and grow both backward and forward. That's our aim. So when we focus on heavy industries, so there are backward linkages to it. Right? So that is why we wanted to focus on the heavy industry. Now, during this period, if you go and, if you look at my lecture on 5-year plans, right, you will notice that it was a period where we focused on the Mahalanobis model and the Harrod-Domar model. So you have to read that. We have already done that in those 5-year plans. Acha. Now, there was also a concept of trickle down. Trickle down को थोड़ा सा समझते हैं. What is trickle down? So trickle down says the following. Imagine, बेटा ये एक केक है. Imagine I want to go ahead and I want to distribute this cake among multiple people. तो suppose there are 10 people. तो हर एक को इतना सपोज 8 people, इट्स इजी फॉर मी टू डिवाइड ना, तो हर एक को इतना शेयर मिलेगा. सपोज दिस शेयर इज वेरी लेस, तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं? अगर मेरा इस केक का साइज ही बढ़ जाए, इफ दिस केक साइज इटसेल्फ इंक्रीजेस, So each person will now get more share. Each person will now get more share. This person will also get more share. पहले उसको इतना मिल रहा था, अब ये एक्स्ट्रा शेयर मिलेगा, and so on and so forth. This is called the trickle down effect. So in order to eliminate poverty, हमने सोचा कि क्यों ना हम इकोनॉमी के साइज ही बढ़ा दें. Why not just increase the GDP of the economy? So when the GDP itself will increase, the share of income of every person will increase. So that is the concept that was used. It was called as the trickle down approach. That is to increase the size of the cake. Okay. Then there is another very important aspect during this period. Lack of investment in health and education sector. हमें क्या लगता था ना, मतलब during that period, what the government thought is that जो health and education है, these are the primary motives of the state government. Health or education, state government को focus करने के concepts हैं. They are not the concepts to be focused by the central government, right? So, or the union government, right? So they were considered as state government responsibility and not the responsibility of the union government. और क्योंकि इसको यूनियन गवर्नमेंट की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं माना गया, बिकॉज इट वॉज नॉट कंसिडर्ड एज यूनियन गवर्नमेंट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, यूनियन गवर्नमेंट डिड नॉट डू एनीथिंग अबाउट इट. एंड एज अ रिजल्ट हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन पर वी वर नॉट एबल टू ग्रो अ लॉट. एंड बिकॉज यू नो इफ वी वुड हैव पुट आवर मनी इन हेल्थ एजुकेशन, तो शायद हम सिंगापुरियन इकोनॉमी की तरह होते हैं. वी वुड हैव हैड गुड ग्रोथ रेट्स, right? But because we did not focus on health and education, we could not follow what in economics is called as an endogenous growth model. Endogenous growth model कौन सा model होता है? That growth model which says that it is ideas which can bring growth in the economy. It is education which can bring growth in the economy. But we didn't focus on growth through education and health. So endogenous growth model could not be followed. ठीक है, तो ये फोकस करता है आइडियाज. So more or less this is the period of the Nehruvian era. Then we came to 1964 to 1980, which is a period of the period of Lal Bahadur Shastri ji and Indira Gandhi ji and the Janata Party. Okay, so overall the growth rate was 2.9%. And of course, this is the first thing I talked about, that Lal Bahadur Shastri, जब उन्होंने देखा कि food insecurity इतनी ज्यादा है, then he was the one who started talking about green revolution. As a political person, he introduced green revolution, and it was also a period of droughts and wars. Then when Indira Gandhi took over, she did bring some fiscal reforms, and she had thought कि हमें यूएस से और बाहर से फॉरेन एड जो मिलेगी, बट वो फॉरेन एड जो एंटिसिपेटेड थी वो नहीं मिल पाई. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस देयर वर मल्टीपल प्रॉब्लम्स, एंड उसकी वजह से उन्होंने लिबरलाइजेशन को पुल बैक किया. एंड दैट इज व्हेन यू वेंट अहेड एंड यू अंडरस्टूड दैट नाउ द इकोनॉमी will not be on the path of liberalization for many years to come. ठीक है, so she adopted multiple things which led to a lot of problems. जिसमें एक major issue हमारा inefficiency था, economy में inefficiency, right? So this is her period, and this is where we are doing a basic analysis of this period now, right बेटा? ठीक है, so I will go ahead and I will stop here for today, because we want to start this afresh in the next class. So in the next class now, I will start with the period of 1980 onwards, and we will try to understand what happened post that. And before that, I will also talk about the period of emergency in India. अगर थोड़ा सा कभी time मिले, try to see some movies. Multiple movies are there on this emergency period. कि इंडिया में जब ये इमरजेंसी लॉ आई थी, तो ड्यूरिंग दीज 21 months किस किस को क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम हुई थी और वो पीरियड कैसा था. ट्राई टू रीड अबाउट दैट, ट्राई टू सी सम विजुअल्स अबाउट इट. विजुअल्स आर इजी टू रिमेम्बर. जब आप चीजों को देखते हो तो वो ज्यादा आपके दिमाग में रिटेन होती हैं. So try to see those and try to understand that period well. Tomorrow, I will come up with some pictures also related to the emergency period, and we will go ahead and we will understand. Okay,